So how does that work? You join this academy, and what I read about them is they have you guys kicking and punting. I think it was 3 or 4 days a week, and working out the rest. Is it like a place you're going to stay at full time? Are you visiting there every day? How much? How long did it take you to get to this level?
Yeah, so that place there, like at the time that I was there, their main base, I would say, was about an hour and a half from my house. It was still in the same city, but it was just the other side of the city for me. So most of us, would just commute. At the time, I was working full time, so I was having troubles, between when their training was and when I could get there, and also on the weekends I was DJing. So I'd finish a DJ set, 2 or 3 hours away from our city, and drive back to where we were training at 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and I'd sleep in the back of my car. I had a wagon at the time, and one of the other boys would come and knock on the back door and say, "Hey, wake up! Time to go train." And I'd get up and I'd go kick a ball. And really, it's just it can take anywhere from, one dude that went to Oklahoma State was there for 2 weeks before he got his call up and got a scholarship. And then there's other guys that have been there for a few years before they get their call up. But it's just one of those things that it's just as quickly as you can adapt to playing a different sport. Like our sport, we could run for 20, 30 yards before we kick the ball, and we're running at full speed. Whereas this, it's, catch, step, kick the ball. So you got to be able to generate that power and get down to that speed a lot faster than what you're used to. So it's just adapting to the sport. It's kind of like going from baseball to golf. Trying to swing a baseball bat instead of a golf swing. It's completely different, and some people can't transition. But the thing is, the program, at the time it was 3 or 4 days a week. We had 3 days of lifting. They had a program a gym that they lifted with, and that guy trains like O lineman, D lineman, that type of stuff. So that kind of fit into what we were doing. And then it's just transformed since then. I went back in May, and it's completely different. They have a lot more guys. But the main thing to remember about it is you just don't get into the you don't just choose to go into the program. You have to go and kick and have an assessment. And they sit there and watch you kick, 10, 20, 30 balls. And if you can't produce the level without any type of teaching, if you can't produce the level of kick, you don't get accepted into the program. So you have to be able to hit a 45-yard, 4.5-second hang time ball without any instruction. And then they expect that over the next, 10 to 12 months that you're able to translate that into the technique that's required to play college football.
That's crazy. And I was going to ask about what type of numbers they look at, so thanks for mentioning that. At what point did it become clear to you that you had a real shot of going over, when it went from maybe I can do this to mom or dad or whoever, I think I'm going to end up going to the U.S. here based on what I can do?
Yeah, so for me, there was a lot of time there where I was like, I don't even know if I should go into the program. So it was probably 6 months. The two guys that were running it at the time, Johnny and Chappie, that would call me and say, "Hey, are you actually going to jump into this? We think that you got a real shot." And I'm sitting there, I don't know, like I've got to come away from my career, my company. I've got to work out what I'm doing with that, and commit 4-5 years basically at that time. And now it's turned into 6 years, which is just something I would never have thought about. I couldn't fathom that, to change my life so much and go in a different direction.